Hey guys, welcome to the Pillow Talk Lounge. I'm your host, Miss Kia, and I have my three beautiful co-hosts with me today. I'll let them introduce themselves. Y'all on mute.
Hey guys, I'm V.
Hey guys, I'm Jay to the Lou.
Hey everyone, Sierra Diva here.
Okay, so now that we have introduced ourselves, we're going to have some special guests coming in, and they're going to be introducing themselves. And I hope everybody watched the episode 2 of the Pillow Talk Lounge last week when we discussed hierarchy and making men masculine again. It looks like we lost the diva, but I think we all kind of got some feedback from last week's episode. Did y'all?
I got a lot of feedback.
Me too.
From people that I didn't even think that was watching.
Me too. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting today. And where'd Sierra go? She just disappeared. But we'll wait for her because I guess she has to let everybody in. But how y'all doing during like quarantine and stuff? Y'all bored, ready to go back? I heard they're going to be opening things up with phase 1, I believe, tomorrow.
That's going to be a shit show.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good. I ended up coming back home to Philly due to some family stuff. I had to come back home just to make sure everybody was good and stuff. So, yeah, I'll be here for a little bit until I go back to DC. But, yeah, but other than that, you see how every other state, when they open back up and cases went up, I don't see the logic. I understand the whole small businesses, people need money, the nation needs money with taxes, get this revenue, but there's no vaccine, there's no cure. Why you open up everything?
Right. Okay. I'm gonna be in the house for a while. I'm gonna let everybody go out there and test it first. But I'm staying my ass home.
Let that first wave go out there. Yeah.
Oh my God. At my job, they were talking about letting some people come back to the building. So they're starting to like clean it out and then make them go quarantine themselves for 14 days to see how they do.
So my daughter had an orthodontist appointment and I thought they had the best system ever. So parents aren't allowed to go in. They take a infrared temperature taker and they put it to her head to make sure she doesn't have a fever. They do it for all their patients. They have like this mouthwash that washes away all your like germs and whatever the medical terminology is, but they completely they just did a really good job in taking in new patients and their protocol was great.
I can't wait till mine to open back up because it's been a minute. But they're still closed. I haven't got anything. Normally they send out like text messages saying that we're still closed and stuff, but nothing. So she must have
really rushing to come back.
Huh?
He's not rushing to come back.
Apparently not, because he be booming. But yes, let's get started. Where's our guest?
Hey, Russell.
Hey, Russell.
Hey, Russ.
Hey, ladies. How you doing today?
Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back. Thank you.
So, hope you're excited about these topics. Did you get a chance to watch the episode?
Yeah, I did. I watched it twice, actually.
I watched it twice, too.
Yeah. I watched it once alone to make sure it was cool to tell my girlfriend she could watch it.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
We only got 5 on today?
We got, okay, Chester.
6, okay.
Is he there? Chester, can
It
you
looks
hear
like
us?
he's trying to come in. Start.
We can't see no video, Chester.
Hold on, let me see.
Oh.
I saw him
We
in
have
the
no
voting
problem.
area, but it looked like his phone froze.
Okay.
Somebody said, "Oh, they excited for part 2."
Hey.
Mm.
Okay. So part 2 will be coming out next week. And I think it goes more into detail of making men masculine again. We have Chester, who will be talking about his movement. He kind of started this thing, so he'll go more into detail. But for now, let's discuss the episode. So,
Let's talk about it.
Russell, let's start with you.
So introduce yourself. Who are you?
Yes,
What's
please
your
introduce
status?
yourself.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm Russell Bailey. I think by the time we filmed the episode, I had been, practicing Black Love for a year. It's been about a year and a half now, 18 months in the game, even a little longer. But yeah, I just a black man in the mix, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Hey,
What an intro.
You want to introduce yourself?
How's it going, everybody?
What's your name, bruh?
My name is Andrew, her husband.
So I got a lot of feedback on Andrew. Seems like he was a little popular on the show. So I did want to bring him on so that he can discuss some of his thought process. But first, before we get started with him, we're going to introduce our other guest. Chester, would you like to introduce yourself?
Can you hear us? He just said it was a little choppy.
Yeah, I can't hear anybody really.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay.
Do you
So
want to
tell-
introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Chester Turner. I'm the creator of Make Men Masculine, MMMA. And yeah, this is my second time being on here, and I look forward to this show tonight.
Okay, so we look forward to having you. I'm not sure if you caught the episode 2 of the Pillow Talk Lounge where we discussed hierarchy and making men masculine again. So we're going to start with the guys. We're going to do a few questions and answers. But first, we're going to let you talk.
V,
Andrew.
get up. We can't see you.
Yeah, V is a little dark. We want you to discuss the controversy that came out of the show, and that is your level of hierarchy. Now, people want to know what you mean by the reason that you don't subscribe to hierarchy.
Well, I think, first, y'all beat me up real bad. Y'all made me feel real bad.
We did not beat you up.
Really did
I
it.
mean, all of y'all beat me up. I mean, it was,
Oh, really?
it wasn't fair.
Really?
Especially Vanessa and Davon. I mean, that Hopkins family, they really beat me up. Really, really bad. And I didn't appreciate that, So I've been praying for y'all. But no, I think basically what my philosophy is this right here is that anytime you have a hierarchy system at which you believe in, you can always find holes in it. Meaning that whatever you say your hierarchy system is, it's never really that. It's always something else, or something can take the place of it. For instance, if you say, okay, I always put my wife first, but every time you get a chance, you're cheating on your wife. How do you put your wife first? Or if you say, I put God first all the time, God is always first. But when you wake up in the morning, you don't pray. When you go to bed at night, you don't pray. You don't read your scripture, whatever that may be. If it's the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah, whatever it may be. But you say you put God first. So you can always find holes in it. So I just don't believe that you subscribe to something that when you really evaluate it, it has a lot of holes in it.
Okay, so Andrew,
I actually agree with you a tan bit. So your prayer works.
so here's the thing. This is what I think that all of us miss, and we were kind of in the heat of the moment of the discussion. I had to go back and listen to it a few times too. So I get what you're saying. In reality, a lot of people do not put God first. I don't think a lot of people get up first thing in the morning and pray. I don't think people go to bed. Right before they go to bed, they pray. I don't think that that's like the first to do thing on their list. And I could be wrong. I'm just saying. But I do see what you're saying, like in terms of reality and how you live your life, it's hard to say that you live by hierarchy when you really don't. You would be a hypocrite.
Exactly.
So, but it's not to say that people can't do it. It's just that they don't do it.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one. So I see where you're coming from, Andrew. However, I feel as though, I guess when you use the word hierarchy, it just seems so, I never looked at it that way. It's like, yes, I put God first. And yes, when I get married, I'm going to put my spouse, my husband after that. But does it mean that I'm a hypocrite because one day I forget to pray before I go to bed? Which I do pray before I go to bed, and I do pray when I wake up. But if this one day I forget to pray, I'm so tired, I finished watching TV and I went to bed, does that make me a hypocrite? Does that mean that I don't put God first as an overall just because I didn't pray before I went to bed this one or two times? You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it as because I put God first, and I'm not saying, that I forget to pray, and that means that I'm just not putting God first, or I forget to do this. Like, we all fall short at times, but I feel as though that doesn't mean that I don't put God first in my life overall when it comes to the decisions and everything that I make overall, as how my mind and
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That is being a hypocrite. I'm being honest with you, because if you cannot say that you do something right and then don't do it. Like, you can't do that on your job. You can't do that anywhere.
You have some nerve to talk, Mr. Preacher Man, when biblically it states that your wife comes first. So I don't see how that's not hypocritical.
Where does it say that your wife comes first? Show me.
Okay.
No, you're not talking about before God. Russell had the
I was under the impression that hierarchy was saying, like you have to rank these significant people in your life. And I believe like the example was, if both people were sick, who would you tend to first?
Right.
I was under the impression that he was saying, I don't necessarily have to practice that, whether he's married or not. However, it being 2020 and COVID, you've had no choice but to practice this. Who are you with right now? So your hierarchy has come into play. Whether we wanted to believe in it or not. If you in the house with your mom and your wife, then by all means you have done what you said you were doing. But if you just with your wife, then I think the world has already answered the question.
Talk that talk, Russell.
Okay, let's give our guest Chester a time to speak. So how do you feel about hierarchy? I know you watched the episode, so what is your take on what happened?
I think everybody has their own level and perspective of hierarchy, and like you said just a couple of minutes ago, that word alone being used is kind of like, it's a thin line when you use that, especially when you put God in it, because at the end of the day, God comes first before anything. So it was like when you try to line that up, anything with God, God's gonna come first. But as far as having an anarchy, a hierarchy in your house, like I said, that word could be a little strong for me. But I believe that a man and a woman have their place in the house as the individual, as a wife, as a husband, and as parents.
I agree with that. I think that you have a responsibility to your home first. And don't let this man right here fool you, okay? Because he's talking real good on this line, but he know what time it is, okay? So whenever a decision needs to be made, even if he has something to do, regardless of who it's with, he always consults me first. So he like, all right, I gotta go do X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. And it's not that he's getting permission, you know what I mean? It's just a respect level. We're married now. So it's important for you to have that open communication with your spouse first.
Andrew,
Right.
I see you too.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Russell, do you practice that in your relationship?
Do I practice
Say it again.
asking her?
It's not
Do I
permission.
run-
Don't use permission. Just
Do,
a
do I
contract.
run everything by her?
Yeah.
Do I run everything by her before I make a decision for the? I mean, I might. She might catch like a cliff notes or something. I don't know if it's always. I don't know if it's always an open forum, you know. But that's part of the process, you know, finding out
So
what
do you
works
guys
best for
live
her.
together?
Yes, we live together.
Okay, so if you had something to do
Part of the
which
process.
would require you to be gone all day or even maybe like overnight, do you not come to her first and communicate that with her?
Oh,
No,
absolutely.
of course.
Because I still
Ask him.
want to. Yes, because I still want to live together. So if that was the case, yes.
So
But
ultimately,
if
you're
I'm being
trying to
completely
keep peace
honest,
at your home, right?
yeah, I try to keep peace here. But if I'm being completely honest, that wasn't always the case. You know, sometimes, you know, I would be out and it would just be what it was, you know, like, oh, I came back at whatever hour of the night, and it was just like I wasn't intentionally being disrespectful. I just wasn't putting the relationship first. I was being selfish. So, you know, we had those conversations. She's expressed her concerns, and then I changed the behavior to let her know that I hear her. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to keep doing it. But yeah, happy life, happy wife. That's what they say, right?
Oh, do you have something to say about that too?
I don't know so much if it's a happy life. I don't know so much. A happy wife equals a peaceful home. I'm not so sure about a happy life, you know.
I can get it.
So Waka Flocka said, like he mentioned something about this, like marriage is for the women. It's like you have to do everything that they want you to do and whatever it is to make them happy. But what are like what are the wives doing to keep the man happy, pretty much, in a marriage?
Are you asking me?
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it should be 50-50. I think I should be doing things to, you know, make her happy, and she should be doing things to make me happy. Part of that is making ourselves happy too. You know, it don't matter what I do. If she ain't happy for herself, then it's not gonna matter. And I think I need to take care of myself to put myself in a position to accept what she's giving me. So, Flocka don't know what he's talking about on that. It's just a little bit of both.
I just remember he did say something about that a little while ago, and he was catching a little flack for it. Chester, what are your thoughts on happy wife, happy life?
I think it should go both ways. I mean, of course, I would want to keep my wife happy, but it's a wife's responsibility to keep her husband happy as well.
That's true.
So I would like to know, ladies, what do you all do to make sure your man is happy? Your boyfriend or your husband, what do you do to make sure he's happy? Or when you see him slipping in the happiness department, what do you do to bring his happiness back?
But when I find him, I'll let you know.
Damn, Jen. Well, V, what is Devon? Tell him to come. What do you do to keep your husband happy? Since this is a 50-50 thing.
I try to listen a lot now as I'm getting older. When I was younger, you know, especially when we were younger, you know, and married, you just kind of tend to have your stubborn ways, and it's either your way or you don't want to budge or compromise or listen. And so what I've learned is listening really is your key. If you can listen, just like Russell said, and kind of change some of your habits and ways to show your partner, like, hey, I hear you. You know, I do care about your feelings, and because I care, I'm willing to kind of alter and change so that you feel like I hear you. And so I try to hear him so that he is happy in this relationship. Obviously, we try to communicate. We try to do things together. Sex, of course, when I'm not tired. I just think that listening is really a big part, because if you listen, you're able to do some of the things that your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend is, wants you to do.
Yeah, I agree. And Justin had put up like a comment that Will Smith made, "Your happiness is not my responsibility." And I listened to that video that he made, and I agree with that. You need to be happy with yourself and everything that's going on in your life before you can make someone else. You should be adding to someone else's happiness. You shouldn't be waiting for someone else to make you as an individual happy. A person should add to your happiness. Just to piggyback off something like what Vanessa said, when I was in a relationship, what I try to do, and then things that I've learned now more, like you said, listening more, not being stubborn, because like you said, back in the day, is either your way or no way. And just being able to just sit and communicate with the person that you're with. And also, one thing I always ask a guy if I'm dating is, what's your love language? Because at times I would try to put what my love language was to them, and knowing that that wasn't their love language, and whatever their love language was, and trying to feed into that to make the relationship, would make whatever, the dating just more exciting and making them happy. And, it's just communicating and asking questions when you're involved with somebody.
And I also think, really quickly, I also think that as women, we need to try our best not to change our spouses, husbands, boyfriends, and try to understand them more. And as you get older, obviously there's a lot of growth that comes with that. But I think we have this ability to try to change who we're with. If they're not doing something that we want them to do, we try to change them in whatever capacity that is. And I think that's kind of where it goes wrong too, and when the other person tends not to be happy in the relationship because they feel like you don't understand them, you're trying to change them. There is some change that is for the good, but I think we should, try our best to understand our significant others versus really trying to change them.
Right. Okay, it looks like we had another guest that slipped in. Chester, is this your fiance?
Yep.
You want to introduce yourself? Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello, I'm Brooke. Nice to meet
Hi,
you guys.
Brooke.
Hey, Brooke.
So we're right now just talking about happy wife, happy life. But Andrew asked the question, what do you do to make your spouse or boyfriend or your significant other happy? So would you like to touch on that?
From what I've heard, it sounds like you guys pretty much covered it. There's no one single thing that has to be done. It really just depends on who you're dealing with and knowing that person, what they like, what brings them peace, what brings them joy, and focusing on that. It's no one thing because it's different for every person.
Right.
Well, I tell you, it's two things that make me happy.
No,
There's
one thing that makes him
I
happy.
can write some things.
It's two things that make me happy. Y'all want to know what those two
No,
things are?
Pastor, we don't.
I'm gonna tell you. No, I'll be honest with you. When my wife
No, it is
cooks,
too.
my wife cooks that good food. Oh yes, Lord, that makes me happy. And the other ones when she show up naked, that's all right with me. I'm all right.
What man is not happy when they're getting some? And they act right.
Right.
You're so crazy. So,
roll
Tiara,
that one.
Yeah.
you want to answer, Tiara? We didn't hear from you.
So there, I think that you all pretty much covered most of it. So I think that communicating with your significant other is one good way to keep him happy because you're at least listening to what he has to say. Another way is to keep him happy is to keep him fed. Men like good food. So keep him fed. Keep him well rested when it comes to the bedroom thing. I mean, it's different things because different things make men happy. So I think those are the basic ones. And just love him the way you want to be loved.
I feel Will Smith, but not fully.
I mean,
because I think naturally it is our job to keep, your spouse or significant other happy. And you do things to make them happy. Like, for instance, if you buy them a special gift knowing that they wanted something for a long time or whatever, and then you just surprise them with it, them being happy makes you happy. So I don't fully agree with what he said. I do feel like it's your job to make yourself happy. However, you want to make your significant other happy as well.
And to touch on what you said, a lot of people go into relationships broken, unhappy.
Right.
And although they're unhappy and they're broken, they started something unhappy. So they're either looking for happiness through this other person who may or may not be providing that, or they become even more broken based on how the relationship is going. So, I mean, to an extent, he's right, but
right.
What happens when there's something unhappy or broken?
Do you think it's possible for you to be perfectly happy in your relationship, but completely unhappy in other areas of your life, and it shows up in your relationship?
Yep. 1,000%. But
wait. You said, do you think it's, say that again?
I said, do you think it's possible for you to be perfectly happy in your relationship, but unhappy in other areas of your life, but it shows up in your relationship?
But Andrew, I don't even think that's really, I think that's hard to say. I take back my answer. I don't think any relationship is perfect. So for you to be perfectly happy, I think is a bit impossible. There's always something that you wish was better, right? But if you're saying, are you satisfied in your relationship? Do you don't have that many problems, but something else might be kind of lingering into your relationship? Yes, I do think that. But I don't perfectly happy, I think is a bit of a stretch, a little bit.
You think that's a stretch, perfectly happy?
I don't think any relationship is perfect. So for you to be perfectly happy, I think is kind of a stretch. Now, happy, peaceful, in love, yes, but even a great marriage still has things to be worked on.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not relating happiness to not having problems. I'm saying that I think that what I'm saying in terms of happiness, meaning that, and in terms of a relationship, meaning that I'm content. Like, I'm happy with my wife as is. It's nothing that my wife needs to do to change who she is that'll make me happier.
But you're trying to say, like, for instance, we're happy in our relationship, but you may have a job that makes you miserable. So you bring that back to us and, we're in a good place. But because of you not being happy, like at your job, then it shows up in our marriage.
Right.
Are you asking, does that happen? Then yes.
I think that any area where you're not fully grounded can show up in your relationship, because naturally you take things out on a person that's closest to you, and it's not even intentional all the time. So yeah. I just feel like it could happen.
And I think if it was like in that scenario, let's say that work was stressing you or causing you such grief to a point that it showed up in your relationship, then you would work together to try to rectify that.
Mark, we see your comment. If each partner considers the other first, then no one can be left out.
That's true.
All right, Mark.
So how do you guys navigate that space? Like, I think like that's a space that a lot of couples go through, and particularly like during a time like this, like COVID-19, like when you stuck in a house with somebody and one person still at work, the other person got laid off. Y'all was good when y'all both was at work. Y'all had to go to work every day, go to basketball, do everything. But now y'all can't do that no more. Y'all just driving each other crazy, and some of those issues are really coming out.
Well, for me, I love being home with my husband. So I think that there has to be some sort of friendship formed first, right? Mm-hmm. because if you're getting on each other's nerves that much, you got to find something that's common for both of you that kind of drives a friendship. Like, I don't think I've said that Davon's gotten on my nerves this whole time. I mean, he does in general, but not because we've been stuck in the house together. You know what I mean? Like, I've enjoyed it, actually.
Well, us single people ain't got to worry about that. So,
So Chester and Brooke, do you guys live together? How have you been quarantining, if that's even a word? Like, how has your relationship been? Has it been bringing you guys closer or further apart? I mean, you don't have to, like, you know, go into detail, but since you are, like, you know, in the house together 24/7.
Well, for us, we're not. It's pretty much life is normal for us because we're both essential. I work in healthcare, so I'm still working full time, and he's still working full time as well. So it's not having the effect on us that it's having on a lot of other people because we're still going out in the world every day and coming home as normal.
Right. Well, that's good.
yes.
Is it affecting you?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I feel like quarantine, like it is like quarantine is a blessing for a lot of married couples. I mean, people